What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see right behind me, we have the 5.3 liter Silverado, which we're going to be messing around with today. If you guys have seen in some previous videos, we've done some testing with this truck using the Dragy. First, we started off with the Super Chips Flash Pack and the handheld tuner that they offer and ran their canned 93 tune. Then we stepped up to the Diablo Sport Trinity T2 and we ran their 93 tune. With all the tuners that we have used the tunes that came preloaded on their devices to keep it apples to apples instead of doing a custom tune, which you can do with the Diablo Sport. But this truck just happens to be an early model flex fuel vehicle. So I talked to Diablo and they say that their Diablo 93 tune will work on flex fuel with flex fuel factory vehicles. So that's what we're gonna give a try today. We're gonna take it out and use the Dragy and see if this thing actually picks up. We are expecting to lose a little bit of fuel mileage, but we should be gaining some performance and just to try out the flex fuel in this thing. We have never done flex fuel in this truck, even though it is a factory flex fuel vehicle. So let's get through the intro and jump right into today's video. Alright guys, so now that we've gotten through the intro, I want to give you a quick rundown on the truck. Now, if you guys have seen the previous videos where we did the Super Chips and the Diablo comparison, you would already know what's done to it, and there were some pretty good videos, so make sure to go back and check them out. But for those of you that haven't seen those videos, this truck is pretty much bone stock for all intensive purposes. The only thing we have done to it is I put this cold air intake that I picked up, we threw that on it, and I also did a muffler delete to make it sound a little bit better. But other than that, this thing is completely stock except for the wheels and tires. Stock wheels with a little bit bigger tires. But like I said, other than that, the thing is completely stock. It is a flex fuel vehicle from the factory, but we have never tried it in the term that we have owned this thing. We've never had it on E85 or a mix of the two. So instead of taking it to the pump and risking having any issues or the truck not recognizing the flex fuel, since it is an early setup, it doesn't have a flex fuel sensor. It reads off of the oxygen sensors. So I'd rather do it here, so if we have any issues, we can correct them now without having to worry about getting the truck home from wherever we fill it up. So the way I'm gonna go about doing this, I have to grab my fuel pressure tester, which has a drain button on it. So now when you hold the button down, it's pumping the fuel into our can. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but at least this way we should be able to pump this thing down until it's completely out of fuel. Once we get it all drained out, we'll dump 10 or 15 gallons of E85 in this thing, start it up, and make sure that the truck is doing the switch over to flex fuel and that everything is working properly. And then we will take it out for a ride, check drivability, and then do some testing with it. Alright guys, so as you can see, this thing finally just ran out of fuel. We did it with the fuel pressure gauge like I had showed you, and we filled up a bunch of jugs. This one's about halfway, and then we've got those 3 5-gallons over there that we were able to fill right up. So there's quite a bit of gasoline in this thing. So now that we've got it drained out, we're gonna run to the pump and get some pump E85, throw it in this thing, and hope that the flex fuel system works. Alright guys, so we went ahead and got some ethanol, and out of curiosity I want to test what the content is. So we're going to fill this up with water to the line, and right about there is the line. And then I've got some of the ethanol we just pumped in this little container here, and we will pour some of that in here up to the fuel fill line. Is right there. And we can put the cap on it. Sorry, my big fat fingers are in the way. Put the cap on it, then we shake it up. And I know this isn't like 110% accurate. Unless you have a lab, there is no 100% accurate way to measure it, but it should give us a rough idea. And now you just wait for this to settle, and when it's clearly separated, this will tell you what the content is. All right guys, so we got the 10 gallons of pump E85 pumped into the truck, and the tester is pretty much settled here. And as you can see, we're working with closer to E70, I'd say, than 85, because as you can see, I'm a little bit short here. So I'd say roughly like E68, E70. So not true E85, but it's what we've got to work with, so that's what we're gonna run. So let's go see if this thing fires up and make sure it switches over to flex fuel mode and see how it runs. All right guys, let's go ahead and fire this thing up. All right guys, we're gonna go take this thing for a little test drive. There we go, alcohol percent is actually finally coming up. Now it's at 26%, so it's reading it, so that's a good sign. But we're gonna go take this thing for a little test drive, make sure it's driving all right and doing fine. Then we might go stop at the pump, throw some more E85 in it, and then tomorrow we'll do some testing with the Dragy. I'm glad the percentage came up a little bit though. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work. It's up to 50%. Like I said before, we're still running the Diablo 93 tune, but like I had mentioned, for flex fuel vehicles, it's supposed to have a flex table as well. So we should be good as far as that is concerned. I'm not expecting huge gains with it because it is pretty much a stock truck. Obviously in our other cars, boosted applications and stuff, you're going to see a lot bigger benefit to running E85. But in my opinion, E85 is just a superior fuel all the way around. It's funny, it went up to 74% and then started coming back down. We're at 62% now. Let's put some more in it and see where it decides to level off at. Like I said, my tester was saying roughly 65 to 70%, so it's not far off of what my tester was saying. So all right, let's throw some more E85 in it.
On this thing.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Like I said, when we do the Dragy, we'll know for sure. I mean, it's definitely running good, you know?
Yeah, it runs fine.
And the thing that was making me nervous was the alcohol percent didn't change the first,
yeah.
like, on other cars that we have with like flex sensors, even normal pump gas reads a few percent, you know what I mean? This one was just reading dead zero all the time. All right guys, so it is the next day and we're gonna go ahead, get this thing fired up, warmed up. We're setting up some cameras right now and we're gonna go take it out and see what it runs. We're gonna compare these to one of the last videos I did with this truck where we ran it on the Diablo tune on pump 93. We're not gonna bother switching it back over and retesting 93 because we have 2 videos where we ran it on 93, so it's perfectly good data. So we'll go ahead and use that to compare. So let's fire this thing up and take it out. All right guys, so we're gonna do this the same way that we've always done it with the other tests and try to start in roughly the same spots. We don't have any perfect areas around here, but we make what we have work. As long as we keep them in consistent spots, we should be fine. We'll foot brake it like I did before. Seems like it's leaving really soft. Not 100% sure why it's doing that, but we're gonna stop and check it here in a second. I turned traction and StabiliTrak all the way off this time, see if it'll let it leave a little harder. That one might have been a little bit better because it said quarter mile after the shift that time. So like I said from the beginning, it's a mostly stock vehicle on pretty lowish ethanol, like 64 this thing's saying. My tester was saying between 65 and 70. Even if it was a higher percentage, I don't think it'd make a huge difference, just because we are still on the canned Diablo tune, and not only are we on the canned Diablo tune, but it's a stock truck, so you're not going to get massive gains. But I was curious. I wanted to see what it would do with a Diablo tune and a flex fuel and a pretty much stock setup. I wish we had another truck just like this one to compare back to back with identical setups. Just one on ethanol and one on pump gas. That'd be kind of interesting. If any of you guys have something like that would want to do that, let me know. That'd be pretty cool. Let me know down in the comments or on Instagram. But let's loop this thing around. Just to make it fair, I think I'm going to put it in auto 4-wheel drive, because this thing has an auto, like, all-wheel drive type mode. And we will give that a try because we did that on pump gas before. Definitely seemed like it left a little harder. It moved the phone that time. Definitely seemed like it left a little harder. It moved the phone that time.
Quarter mile.
Alright guys, so now that we are back at the house and you have seen our fastest run on 93 and you have seen the runs that we made on E85, you can see that it is not what I was expecting. Personally, I was expecting this thing to definitely pick up in the 8th and in the quarter by switching over to E85, but I think I might know why it did not. So you've got to remember, first of all, this is pretty much a bone stock truck, so even with a fully optimized tune, I don't think that we'd pick up more than maybe 10 or 15 horsepower altogether, and that's with a completely optimized tune for this specific truck. Alright guys, so there's one other huge factor that I didn't even realize until I was sitting here and editing this video, so let me go ahead and pull up the run on 93 one more time. And as you can see, the temperature is way lower in this pull. It's 37 degrees compared to when we were running the E85. It was 72 degrees out, which is plenty to make a big difference in our mile an hour and ET. So I think we will revisit this when the temperature outside drops to the 30-degree range and retest this again, because I think the truck will pick up quite a bit and be right on par, if not surpass what it did on pump 93. Now with that being said, you've also got to remember that the Diablo tuner that we were using for today's video is a tune that is sold to the masses and has to be safe for many different people's vehicles. They can't be out here blowing up people's trucks because then nobody would buy the tuner. So with that being said, it is not the result that we were looking for or expecting, but on this channel I try to keep it real with you guys and show you what actually happened and what we are working with. So in our case, the E85 actually cost us a little bit of time and mile an hour, but I think I have a few ideas on how we could improve on that. Now if you guys would like to see it in the future, we could do a video with this truck and that tuner where we take it out and I keep upping the timing until we start picking up some knock, and then we could dial it back a little bit and then do these same runs again and see how much we pick up going about it that way, because I think the issue is they are just not taking full advantage of the timing, trying to keep these things safe for the majority of people that are driving them. So if that's something you guys would like to see, make sure to let me know down in the comments. As always, I appreciate you guys for checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell, and we will catch you on the next one.